Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. This is not going to be one of my more upbeat videos. I had a really bad bike accident weekend before last. Hence this, swollen fingers, all that fun stuff. Not going to lie, this has been one of the most mentally challenging injuries I have ever had. I've broke things, I've torn things, biking and also just during soccer. It hasn't been that bad of a recovery or a mental block. I don't know. It wasn't that bad, I was like, okay, cool, I'll get better. And this one has been just such a mental, I don't know, just mentally challenging for me. And that's okay. Like, I'm human. It's okay. I'm glad it wasn't anything worse. It could have been far worse, but this is one I'm struggling with mentally, so it is what it is. So Hunter, my fiance, we were up in North Carolina. We decided to check out some trails. We were out riding, having a great time and all that stuff. And long story short, I ended up going over the bars on a section of the trail, and my elbow was the first thing to come in contact with the ground. So I smashed my elbow. As soon as I hit, I had this sensation, just wave of nausea hit me, and immediately I thought, great, my body's reacting like this. This is not good. Like, I've done something pretty bad. I have a very high pain tolerance. I'm a very logical person and just calm and all the things when something happens like this, thankfully, which is great. My brain just goes into another gear of like, okay, how do we get out of this? How do we fix this? And so that's what I immediately went into. Hunter comes running over and just like, oh my gosh, let me see it. I'm like, no. Like, I'm literally telling him just like this in this voice. I'm like, no. Like, appreciate all your help. I really do. You just have to give me a minute, because my body was going into shock. I was getting faint and everything. And that's just how I knew I really have done a number on this. But didn't know exactly the extent of my injury. So I'm trying to feel around on my arm, thinking I've probably broken something. So I'm, gently feeling around on my arm and everything like that. And I get to my elbow up here and I feel this bone popping out. And I'm like, oh, great, I've done it now. And so I tell Hunter, I was like, hey, my bone's popping out. Like, we need to go to the hospital. You need to get me there as soon as possible, because once my adrenaline wears off, I'm going to probably be in a lot of pain. So you need to get me out of here. Unfortunately, we were on the other side of the whole trail system. There's 3 parking lots to this trail system, and we were by one of the parking lots. So I was like, let's just get off the trail since this is right here, luckily, to see if we can flag someone down to help us get us back to our car. There's a park ranger right there. I told him, I was like, hey, let's flag that guy down, see if he can help us. Really nice guy, got us to our car and everything like that. Get to the car, I'm telling Hunter, I was like, all right, you need to pull all my rings off because I'm going to be swelling. And then we're trying to figure out where the closest hospital is. Luckily, it was only 11 minutes away. He gets me to the hospital. The pain is really starting to kick in then. And I'm like, oh, crap. Like, this is not good. So I'm waiting to see a doctor. They bring me in. They have to cut my sleeve up because I can't move my arm at all. They're like, can you move it? I'm like, no, it's there. It's not moving. I had to just hold on to my arm because I couldn't have any weight. I couldn't support my own arm weight. So I'm telling them, no, I can't move it at all. So they cut open my sleeve, and Hunter's like, oh, Morgan, because my arm is so deformed looking. I'll put a clip right here, but yeah, it's pretty gnarly looking. I'm just waiting for some pain meds at this point, just like, oh, okay. Just me without pain meds, mangled arm. It's going great. Just trying to, I think they might sedate me. I don't know what's going to happen. It's pretty bad. Yep.
And over the handlebars.
Yeah. My arm went up in front of me. But yeah, I was in a lot of pain right there. They then take me back to a room, and the nurse comes in. She's like, I'm gonna give you some meds for your pain. She gives me, as she described it, Motrin on crack. She injected me with that, and then also morphine, which I was like, holy crap, you're putting morphine in me? Like, don't you think that's a little overkill? Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, wow, that's like major. Like I said, I have a really high pain tolerance. So I was like, whoa, that just seems like a lot. Like, that's really severe. So they do that, and the nurse is like, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is probably really not going to do a whole lot for you at all with the pain. And I was like, that's okay. Thanks for being honest. And I was like, well, what would help? What's going to help with the pain, you think? And she was like, not until we fix it. I'm like, all right. All right, that's fine. Then they take me back. They're doing x-rays and everything, and Hunter's over there looking at the x-rays. And I'm like, so what's the verdict here? I'm hoping and praying I didn't just shatter my bone or break it or anything like that. That's what I'm hoping for. And they're like, it's looking like it's severely dislocated. And I'm like, that's it? I was like, that's it? And they all start laughing and going on because I'm just so, probably not their average patient that they're getting, that's just so chill and calm about this whole situation. And they're like, yeah, you might also have a fracture, but yeah, it's severely dislocated. And so I'm like, all right, well, okay, they're gonna have to put this back in place. So they end up having to put me under to get everything back in place. They let Hunter stay in the room just to see all this, because he's like, I want to see this. I gotta see how they do this, because my arm looks so terrible. They get it back in place. Hunter said it took like 2 of them like pushing on my arm to get it to snap into place. So they get that. They said by the time they put me under to the time I woke up was 10 minutes, and they're like, this whole experience, they're like, it's been so textbook. Everything has gone so seamlessly that we could have done a whole training course on you. Because usually they said, it takes people like an hour to wake up, but I was like, I heard Hunter say like, hey Morgan, everything went well, your arm's back, your elbow's back in place, can you hear me? And I was like, and I remember hearing everyone. So in another 15 minutes, I was walking out on my own of the hospital and was telling everyone, oh, have, great holiday, happy holidays, everything. And they're just laughing again because I'm just chill. And at the time I was really chill because I thought, this is great. Like my elbow's just dislocated. That's it. We're good to go. So they told me, once I got back, I would need to see my orthopedic as soon as possible. So get back. This is all the week of Christmas, which just makes things worse. And I get back, I try to get an appointment with my orthopedic, and she's completely booked up because, of course, it's the week of Christmas. And so I ended up texting her because I have the absolute best orthopedic in the whole entire world, best doctor I've ever had in my life. I can't say enough great things about her. She's the orthopedic I use for my knees and all those issues and things like that, and she is absolutely phenomenal. So she gave me her number in case I ever needed anything, had an emergency or anything like that. So I ended up texting her and was just like, hey, I can't get in to see you. Your schedule's really booked. They're telling me at the front. Is there anyone you would recommend in your practice that would be good? And just told her my situation, what had happened and everything like that. She immediately calls me and is like, no, like, I'm getting you in. Come see me tomorrow. Like, I'll figure it out, which is just, again, amazing. I mean, what doctor does that? And so I go in there, she checks everything out, and she does some more x-rays and things like that and tells me, it's not good. She's like, you really did a number on your arm. You severely dislocated this. So she's like, it's going to be a minute. She's like, you didn't do good things here. It's not good. It could get worse depending if I have a fracture or not. She's like, I can't tell if you have a fracture, but if you do, it's going to make things a little worse for you. But I had to go get a CT scan that next day to see what the verdict was there, which I'll know at the beginning of the year when I go see my orthopedic again. But yeah, she was originally also going to do an MRI of my arm, but she told me, which I didn't even think about, which is, it makes all the sense in the world. She told me with the bone that went through, the way I dislocated my arm, and with how far it went out, I ripped through everything in my arm for that bone to go out. She's like, that's how I know you've ripped through everything. She's like, that bone wouldn't be able to make it out on the side. We don't even need to do an MRI because I already know what's going on in there. She's like, right now, you just need to rest, not do anything. Let your arm recover as much as possible, your elbow. She couldn't remove my splint or anything that I got done at the hospital because she's like, your arm's not stable enough for me to remove this yet, and I just need to let it scar up more before I take this off and try to move you. So come early January, that's what she's going to do. She's going to take off the splint, review the CT scan results, see exactly what's going on there. Then tried to retract my arm just to kind of see progress I'm making and everything like that. And then told me I will either be in another splint or I will be in a cast, depending on how everything's looking. So I'll be wearing that for roughly 6 weeks. After that, I will be in a robo type arm thing for I don't know how long. And then after that, I will be doing physical therapy for I don't know how long either. There really isn't a timeline roughly on anything. Maybe I'll know more. I'm hoping when I go back in at the beginning of the new year to see exactly how long she realistically thinks I'm going to be out. But from everything she said, it sounds like it's going to be a while. I also have a snowboarding trip in January, and I was like, so I had this trip. She's like, oh my God, Morgan. She's like, absolutely not. She's like, even if you were recovered, she's like, I would not even recommend that. She's like, I would tell you absolutely no way. She's like, absolutely not. You're not doing that. She's like, all it would take would just be one fall where you could just, I won't even, yeah, we won't even talk about that. That's one of the biggest bummers in all this is I can't go on my trip to Big Sky, which is really, really unfortunate. Trip that I was really looking forward to that I had planned for a year. I have a big trip every year that all me and my friends do. Have to miss my second trip too as well, snowboarding, and it kind of sounds like I'll probably be out the whole snowboarding season. I won't even get to snowboard this year with the way everything's sounding, but who knows? But just right now, that's how it's sounding. But yeah, I can't do a whole lot, so I'm just hoping I'll know more and know when I can start doing some light exercise. I'm probably going to buy a Peloton and something along those lines just so I can have movement and cardio and be in shape. And I just need that so much. Like I was telling Hunter, it's like it's biking is my therapy. It's how I stay sane. I start getting grumpy and just like when I haven't had any exercise. So for me, this is just, it's going to be very challenging for me with this. And then just losing my independence with so many things. That's another thing that I'm really struggling with mentally is having to rely on other people to help me, which sucks and I'm not happy about. And I'm just getting so angry at things with that. And it is what it is. And, it's one of the things where this just comes with the territory with the sport. If you bike long enough, things are going to happen. You're going to get in accidents. It's just going to happen. It's something every time you get on your bike and go out there that this very well could happen and accept the risks for it. And, it is what it is. And I will be back out there biking. But until then, it's just going to be a little bit of a rough patch that I'm going to have to figure out how to keep myself sane and busy and be able to exert some energy to be okay. But anyways, that's pretty much it. I will probably do another video when I have more information, when I learn more what the timeline's really going to be in the new year. But yeah. As far as pain medication goes, I am not someone who likes to take medicine. I don't like taking powerful drugs or anything like that. I am on nerve blockers right now, and they gave me some other drugs and I just refuse to take them. So I've been taking just acetaminophen. Really, honestly, just for the swelling part. I would go off of it if they would let me because I just don't feel like taking that much medication for an extended period of time is good for anyone, especially since I can handle it. It's fine, but it's just the swelling factor at this point. So I'm trying to be good and at least take that to help with things, but really hoping to start coming off these nerve blockers because I'm just so spacey and out of my mind, really. I just say things, I'm like, oh crap, like I'm just out of it completely. So I don't like feeling that way. So I'm just probably going to slowly start tapering myself off of that so I can be just off of everything. I did have one person that asked, what if you're wearing elbow pads? Do you think that would have made a difference? And I honestly don't think so. I think that sure, it might have helped a little bit, but I would have still had this injury, I believe, but maybe not to this extent, but who knows? It could have been the same, but I don't think it would have helped me avoid this situation completely at all. It's also another thing, I don't like wearing elbow pads. Now when I'm biking, some kind of brace I probably will always wear on this arm. I don't know what I'll do, but yeah, it's unfortunate. But anyways, hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Happy New Year, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye, guys.